Speak with me, Poonam Burde. Over the last 1 year, fireworks over remarks around Sanatan Dharma have triggered a big clash between parties in Tamil Nadu specifically and nationally for the India bloc as a whole, especially since the Congress and the other allies of the DMK have found themselves in a catch-22 situation over the issue. Just this month, there was a war of words between two deputies down south, between Pawan Kalyan, the Deputy Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, and Udhayanidhi Stalin, the Deputy Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu. The bone of contention was Sanatan Dharma. Pawan Kalyan advised Stalin Jr. not to malign or abuse Sanatan Dharma as he has done in the past. He also issued an ominous warning that Hindus will not tolerate this. But that only got a response from Stalin Jr. by saying, "Wait, we'll see." Now the issue is back in focus because at an event yesterday, Udhayanidhi Stalin asserted that he echoed the views of Dravidian leaders like Periyar, former Chief Minister of the state C.N. Annadurai, and his grandfather M. Karunanidhi, and that's about it. He said, "I am Kalainar's grandson and I will not be apologizing for my remarks against Sanatan Dharma." Now let me refresh your memory. What has happened over the last 1 year? Udhayanidhi Stalin has only doubled down on his attack. In September 2023, he had, remember, compared Sanatan Dharma with dengue malaria. He said that it should not only be opposed, but should be eradicated. He said at a Sanatan abolition conference where he argued that Sanatan Dharma is against social justice and equality. 2 months later, he defended himself, saying that he will not change his statement because he has said nothing wrong. He even quoted Ambedkar and Periyar back then. He said that all he was doing was following their footsteps. Now yesterday, the Deputy Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu asserted that he will not apologize for his call to eradicate Sanatan Dharma, adding that his remarks were aimed at addressing repressive practices toward women especially. He said that if the courts made him apologize, he still would not. Now Stalin Jr. said that his words were twisted. He raked up the legal troubles that he faces and he said that it's not just in Tamil Nadu but cases around the country have been filed against him and those cases are being heard in several courts of the country. Here's what the topmost court of our country had observed while hearing his case in March this year. The Supreme Court had come down very heavily on Udhayanidhi Stalin, going on to say that you abused your rights under Article 19, which guarantees you the right to free speech. How can someone like a man who is a politician and MLA, someone who is now the Deputy Chief Minister of the state, how can you abuse your rights under Article 25 that guarantees freedom to profess any religion, was a question the Supreme Court had asked. It even asked that how can you now invoke claiming breach of fundamental right when you have been abusing your fundamental rights. The court also observed that you are not a layman. That's what they said to Udhayanidhi Stalin, that you're a minister and you should very well know the consequences of utterances that you make in public life. So now that we see this entire controversy back in focus and with Udhayanidhi Stalin saying that he will not apologize, is this defiance after slander? That's what we ask here on Plain Speak.
என்ன நீதிமன்றத்தில் மன்னிப்பு கேட்க சொன்னாங்க. நான் சொன்னதுதான் நான் கலைஞர் பேரை இதற்கு மன்னிப்பு கேட்க மாட்டேன்னு நான் நீதிமன்றத்தில் அந்த வழக்கை
And note, he only does it on Sanatan Dharma, thought he has no words on any other religion. That also exposes the double standards and the political thinking beyond it. For political reasons, they will suddenly visit temples, but after that, they don't care about Sanatan thought. The Deputy Chief Minister today, he calls Sanatan Dharma a disease, not one line from Rahul Gandhi ji, who says, "I'm a Shiv Bhakt."
I think it's the media that has blown the issue out of proportion and not got the crux of what we had been trying to say.
Let's open this up. Ashwathama Nalimuthu, State Secretary of the BJP in Tamil Nadu, will be joining us shortly. America Narayanan, leader of the Congress, is with us. Rahul Ishwar will be also with us just a short while from now. But America Narayanan, let me begin by asking you, do you agree with the stance that Udhayanidhi Stalin has taken, that no matter what, he's not going to apologize, even if the courts make him do so?
I have consistently said, first, the word Sanatan Dharma has not been in vogue in Tamil Nadu until recent time. I've been living in Tamil Nadu for the last 34 years after I returned from States. The word Sanatan Dharma has not been in vogue in Tamil Nadu until about probably last 3 to 5 years. When Governor Ravi, instead of being governor, has been doing politicizing it, and subsequently BJP picked it up. And in this case, Mr. Udhayanidhi Stalin has used the word Sanatan Dharma as understood by Tamilians here to equating it to Hindutwadis. Now, it is true that Sanatan Dharma as understood throughout India is different. It's just like a lot of Hindi word that even today I do not understand.
Sure.
So, I don't think he meant to attack the Sanatan Dharma, quote unquote, Hinduism, but he does, and I agree with him if he wants to attack the Hindutva as practiced by BJP. Now, that's what we need to understand. Even today, he has said very clearly he's against the discrimination of people based on religion, caste, and that's wrong.
Sure.
I agree with him. But he should have. I think one of the problem with all the politicians today is we just want to clap hands. And so he did use the word, and I think he's trying to explain it very clearly. And I think today, instead of talking about important things, we are talking about, the same thing over and over again.
Narayan sir, can I ask you a question?
You say, Rahul Ishwar, I'll get you in. You say that it was started by the governor, then the BJP jumped at it. But what Mr. Udhayanidhi Stalin said last year is very clear. He said Sanatan Dharma has to be eradicated, but like we have eradicated diseases like cholera, like we fight dengue and malaria.
He did say that, but...
So then how can he today say that my comments were twisted by the media and blown out of proportion?
No, the point is this. You can say anything I can say. I know in the media, today I'm very well known for the word hell yeah. But if you go back to the whole sentence I said, then it is taken out of context. Even 1 paisa corruption is wrong. And in this party, there has been a corruption because even 1 paisa corruption is wrong. Now, you can't take everything out of context. You need to understand the spirit of what somebody says. If anybody, you can twist a word and say it. And that's what's being done today for political purposes, both by DMK and by BJP and the medias like you.
Okay, I don't know why the media is being blamed and the messenger is being shot here, because what he said is very clear. But Rahul Ishwar, the spirit of it all has been lost, is what the Congress says. DMK, unfortunately, hasn't turned up on our debate despite us asking them to. But anyway, go ahead.
Poonamji, just one question. When as a Hindu activist, when I take Prophet Muhammad's name, I always say Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as a salutation to Prophet. Or when I take Jesus Christ's name, I always say Son of God. That's the Indian culture. That is Mahatma Gandhi's and Vivekananda's Arsha Bharata culture we have. We as Hindus and Indians respect every faith and celebrate every faith. But can I just ask one simple question to Narayanji? Had the same thing being said about Christianity or Islam, what would have been the reaction? If the same thing was said by a good friend from the right of the spectrum or a right wing, said the same thing about holy Islam or holy Christianity, all hell will break loose. International media will write articles demeaning India. They will consistently attack. It is all fascism. Hitler has reborn and all the other things. But when the attack is on Hindu Dharma, Sanatana Dharma, everyone is very lukewarm. Everyone is very intellectual. Everyone is kind of freedom of expression. Is it not double standard? We should respect Hindu, Christian, Muslim, Parsi, Jain, Jew, Buddhist, Sikh, every culture. That's being the great culture of India. And I'm very sad, Narayanji, who I really respect, coming from Mahatma Gandhi's Congress. Gandhiji was a Hindu activist. Coming from Mahatma Gandhi's Congress, he's not even ready to condemn. He should at least be able to say that this is not right. And Sri Rahul Gandhi, who I really admire, who is a rising star in Indian politics right now, Rahul Gandhi is not even saying, I will talk to Udhayanidhi Stalin, clarify his stand, say that he is wrong. So this is the unfortunate situation we are in, where majority Hindus are soft targets. Anything can be said against them. Anything can be said against Sri Ram. Anything can be demeaned regarding Ramacharithamanas. Whereas we should definitely protect and celebrate our minority. But the same status is not according to the majority Hindu community. Is a sad fact, and politicians are not mindful because Hindus don't have that kind of a vote bank, especially in a place like Tamil Nadu. So please stop treating
Can I
us
come in?
Hindus as second-class citizens. That is very unfortunate.
Can I come in?
Yes, sir, go ahead.
I'll answer you. The point is, I agree with you that every religion is important. Even today, you can attack, for example, Udhayanidhi Stalin. But why are you bringing in the other religions and why are they not doing against it? That's not right. You can say what he said is wrong. See, the problem with BJP today is
Sir, you should say that, sir. The point is, you should say that.
It stretches them. Please understand, I didn't interrupt you. I am a proud Hindu and I wear my Yagyo Pavitam with pride and I follow my practice, every religion, and I criticize DMK and even this morning I criticized DMK. There's a fellow who has said a particular community or a caste, they should not be wiped out. I have criticized that even when the DMK leader said, unfortunately, everybody is doing it for political purposes. I think the Congress is right. Congress accepts every religion, every caste, and it does not discriminate based on caste or religion. Unfortunately, both BJP and DMK came from DK. In Tamil Nadu, they used a minuscule minority of 3 to 5%, create a hatred against them, and try to have a political dividend, and they are trying to even do that today. BJP is doing against 15% of the people. Both of that is wrong. That's all I'm trying to say. Now, in this, as far as Udhayanidhi Stalin is concerned, I think he has clarified it. He said this is what he means. And I think I mean, if I were him, I would clarify. I didn't say it. And I don't think he has said so, that it is not against Hinduism. But Sanatan Dharma, as it was practiced those days, and in Tamil Nadu, for example, even today,
But that clarification itself, Mr. Narayanan, hasn't come in the last 1 year.
He should have gone there and protested. Dalits were not able to carry their body in certain places in Tamil Nadu. Udhayanidhi Stalin, who is against this, should have been there that day. I'm willing to say that.
Sure, the Varnashram system is what he's against. That is what he's raising his voice against. Fair enough, he can raise those voices. But the fact that in the last 1 year, since this controversy came to light, he hasn't clarified that I did not mean that and this is what I meant. Even today, he says that I will not apologize, despite, even if the courts ask me to. And this case is sub judice. The Supreme Court has rapped him about it. That how he as a politician, as a minister, and now as a deputy chief minister of the state, he should be aware of the consequences of the utterances he makes. Let me get in the BJP representative as well. Ashwatthama Nalimuthu, the allegation against the BJP is that you are blowing this out of proportion because you gain political brownie points out of this.
Actually, I want to clarify, as a Congress spokesperson says, even from the threshold stage, all those persons continuously saying this. Sanatanam means in Tamil Nadu there is a various meaning. All over India it varies meaning. It is a most insensible explanation I ever had. Why? Because simply going to the resolution passed in that conference where Udhayanidhi spoke this irresponsible speech, that conference called in Tamil Sanatana Manadu means Sanatana Dharma Eradication Conference. It is a eradication or sabotaging of Sanatana Dharma conference. It means. The resolution, housewarming ceremony, Ganesh Puja should be stopped. If there is any useful purpose, if there is any, apart from spreading vengeance against Sanatana Dharma, whether it is for social justice, not at all. And the other resolution, Punya Tithi for ancestor, should be stopped. Whether any useful purpose towards social justice in this resolution, not at all. And the other, puberty function should be stopped. And Ayudha Puja should be stopped. All Hindu rituals have to be stopped in everywhere, in every practice of the people. That is the resolution passed in that conference which lead by Udhayanidhi Stalin. That conference, he rendered this irresponsible, insensible and vengeance speech on Hindus to eradicate Sanatana Dharma. He said, he comparing Sanatana Dharma with HIV, with malaria and mosquito. See, very ideology of Dravidian party, more particularly DMK and DK, is racism. That too fabricated racism. I wonder how Congress can support now. They are accepting Dravidian ideology now. They are, even DK was formed against Congress. DMK was formed against Congress. Now, ironically, Congress supporting DMK. Leave. One basic concept of DMK is religious fanaticism. Why I am saying this? Even few days back, before that irresponsible speech, Stalin, Udhayanidhi Stalin, the same Udhayanidhi Stalin, now he became a deputy chief minister of Tamil Nadu. He rendered his speech at one Christian conference. He said, I am a proud Christian. The same person saying I am a proud Christian, the same person saying another conference saying that I am going to sabotage Hindu Dharma. Is it not a religious fanaticism? And as well as the very basic ideology of DMK is fabricated racism. There is no race in the name of Dravidam. It is a place, it is not a race. There is no scientific evidence. Only the Englishmen, British person, Cardwell says this word. But every literature, Dravidam means it's a place, not a race. Their very ideology is constructed based on the fabricated racism. And the other thing is, they are on separatism. Even their leader, Dravidian leader E.V. Ramasamy, asking British people at the year of 1947, while they are giving the freedom to India, he asked British to leave Madras presidency. I mean, take the Madras presidency with you. Don't give freedom.
Sure.
To this,
So this is just a policy. This is just a policy of the DMK. That's the point you're trying to
and
make.
Another thing, one more thing, please. And as well as he wrote a letter to Muhammad Ali Jinnah, who divided Pakistan from this country, and he asking his support on this Dravidistan. Their basic ideology is separatism.
Can I just point out one point, ma'am?
Yeah, Rahul Ishwar, go ahead before I get in America and Iran as well.
That too, when we have a Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, who categorically says that Tamil is older than Sanskrit. Narendra Modi ji has courageously taken what Swami Vivekananda said a century ago, where Swami Vivekananda rightly pointed out that Tamil is older than Sanskrit, and Modi ji at least has told this 5 times. He is not doing it for vote bank. He is celebrating Kashi Tamil Sangam. He is celebrating Tamil culture. He is trying to learn bit of Tamil words and speaking somewhere.
And if this was only meant
so please, let us try for national integration
then America and Iran, it would seem
disintegration.
counterproductive for the BJP, isn't it? Because in the Lok Sabha elections, we saw what happened as far as BJP's footprint in Tamil Nadu is concerned. So if that was their motive, then that really hasn't worked. But what is the motive that the DMK and Congress, because they're in alliance, are trying to get to? That's a question that people outside of Tamil Nadu, some of your allies have also in hushed tones asked of the DMK. Unfortunately, all it's remained is in hushed tones. There has been no public rebuke. Because I'm sure a lot of allies within the India bloc of the DMK would not agree and would want an apology from Mr. Stalin.
There are 2 things you need to understand. We are all different parties. We have different ideology. The alliance, electoral alliance, I'm not answerable and I'm not standing in for DMK because I'm not a DMK man. I have criticized DMK in the past. I will criticize them again. But in this particular circumstance, I was told about EVK Ramasamy Naikar, who during the Independence Day has said it is a sad day. That's why I equate DK, which is a forefather of DMK, and RSS, which is a forefather of BJP. RSS did not, watch it again, did not hoist national flag in their headquarters in 1964. Both these guys were both DK, which is a forefather of DMK,
I
and
condemn this,
RSS
sir. Sir, this is
were
not a way.
not
This is not a
celebrating
way. Where
independence.
your Indira
They
Congress
did
doing
not
for
participate in
Indian
independence.
What your Indira Congress doing for the independence? Our RSS people did indulge in the independence. I can give the various evidence on that.
I can tell you,
I'm
I'm not saying.
spread a fake message?
Please,
How
please,
dare
I
you
did
to
not
compare
interrupt
it,
you.
RSS,
Please wait until I finish it up.
Irresponsible
Please, I
and
request
anti-national
you.
Okay,
I request
okay,
you
Mr.
to
Alimutu,
wait until I finish
Mr.
up.
Alimutu,
Please.
I request you. I'll give you your time to rebut. Let him.
Anti-national. How
Sure.
dare you to say this? How dare you
Mr.
to
Mr.
compare
Alimutu,
RSS with
Mr. Alimutu, let him
irresponsible
finish his
DK?
comment, please. Let's
How
not
dare you to do
heckle
that?
anyone and
You are
interrupt
Indian
anyone.
Congress. You
I'm
are not
requesting you,
Indian
Mr.
Congress.
Alimutu. Otherwise, I would have to reduce your fader, please. I'm requesting you. Let him finish his point, and I'll
He
give
is
you
not
time to
supposed
rebut.
Now,
do
let me
that.
just finish
He is
up.
not supposed to do
You,
that.
we live in a democracy, sir. He has his free will to his opinions. Let him voice those. I will come back to you for your rebuttal. Go ahead, American.
Well, see, I'm not saying everything RSS does is bad. A matter of fact, a lot of things they have done. For example, in Kerala during the flood, they carried the dead body. So when I praise the things they do, you have to carry that they have done things wrong. You accept it and move on. That's what I want DMK to do that also. None of us are perfect. So, but when I am saying you can't change history, that is life. The problem is we got to move forward. Now, in this Sanatan Dharma, the way he understands it, which I don't agree with, Udhayanidhi Stalin, but if he says he has understood it equivalent to caste discrimination, and that's wrong. It has been there. It was there. We cannot deny that Hinduism, and
Sure.
including in other religions.
Sure, but
that things have
equating
been
the
wrong.
two concepts, I don't think is the right way to go. And he keeps doubling down on what he's saying. That seems to be the problem.
He is doubling down because it's misunderstood. That's all the problem is. He has
But he's
said-
not clarifying
Now,
if
even
he's
this morning,
misunderstood. All he's saying is that my words are twisted and the media has blown it out of proportion. Even the DMK
Shouldn't
is saying
Rahul
that.
Gandhi take initiative to clarify? Shouldn't Rahul Gandhi, who prides himself as a genuine
It's not
Brahmin
Rahul Gandhi.
or a
It's
Hindu,
not Rahul
shouldn't he
Gandhi's
take
problem. It's
initiative?
DMK's problem. They will clarify it.
But they're not, which is
so
why
I'm
it's
not
a
standing in
problem.
for DMK.
Sure.
It is
Let's
the
not
responsibility of
ask
Congress.
questions of Rahul Gandhi or anybody within the India alliance, within the India bloc, if that's what suits the
They don't
DMK.
need
But
to.
even
They
within,
don't need to.
sure.
We don't agree with everything our partner says or does, and nor do they agree with us. That's the way the partnerships
It's
are.
interesting because when tables are turned and when an ally of the BJP would be found in a similar situation, questions would be asked of the BJP. It's a
Exactly.
convenient
That's
argument to
politics.
make.
But all I am trying
Sure.
to say is, I'm telling you, your viewers, that just because somebody has an alliance, we don't have to agree with everything. That includes
Sure.
that okay for BJP as well as Congress or DMK. We
Sure, the
don't-
Congress
we
doesn't
don't
have to agree
on
with.
everything
Sure,
they do.
I take your
But
point there. The
in this
Congress or
particular
anybody.
case, in this particular case, he has very clearly clarified he is against the discrimination and certain practices that has been followed in the Hindu religion. But I can say there are a lot of other things you rightfully said, and the other person rightfully asked, in every other religion, including Islam and Christianity. And I think they have not. That you can say that. You can say they should also point out, particularly in the past, you could say, I belong to this religion. I have a right
The
to
issue
ask my
also
own
is that
house.
it looks like Hindus are soft targets. They're the punching bag favorites. And that's
not
why
the case.
that's
I
why
think
we
have to
see these
assert ourselves.
these kind of comments
We are asserting
because
ourselves, and nothing wrong about it.
these kind of comments
Nobody
would
is a
never
punch
be
bag in a
made
democracy.
about
We should push
another
back.
religion. But let me get in the other two gentlemen as well. I'm running out of time. But Mr. Alimutu, you had a rebuttal to make. Quick rebuttal, please. Do you buy this argument that Udhayanidhi Stalin is only trying to double down because he's misunderstood?
No, not at all. That's what I already said. That Hindu abolition conference led by Udhayanidhi, Hindu abolition conference led by Udhayanidhi, not at all speaks about the social justice. They are only speaks about that the conference and resolution speaks about the eradication of the practice and spiritual rituals of Hindu Sanatan Dharma. They have to answer about that. The very purpose of the conference is to eradicate rituals of Sanatana Dharma. Means where is the question of social justice? In the DMK era, various presidents, village presidents, who are all selected from SC reservation, they are not able to sit in the chair. They are not able to hoisting the flag in August 15. That is the situation with regard to the social justice in Tamil Nadu. Vangavel issue, you may know that. Human shits are found floating inside the water. water tank of the Dalit people. There is no, despite after 2 years, there is no action, single action taken against the wrongdoers. That is the obvious situation towards the social justice in Tamil Nadu, where is the question of speaking about
So mere
against
talk,
the
no
rituals of
action,
Sanatana
just a
Dharma.
subversion tactic. Rahul Ishwar, I want to give you the last word, 30 seconds. Who's really
Please
trying to
remember-
muddy the waters as far as this controversy goes?
This is not a political topic. This is a cultural, civilizational, spiritual topic. Please remember, both Tamil and Sanskrit are parents of Indian civilization. We should be proud of both, and we should be celebrating both. In the name of ideology, we should not demean either Hindu Sanatana Dharma or Holy Islam or Holy Christianity or Holy any other faith. That's the Gandhian position. That's Vivekananda's position. That is the constitutional position. I hope
Absolutely.
Udhayanidhi Stalin reconsiders his
Absolutely.
position.
I hope all politicians keep that in mind going forward. We'll watch out how that plays. But I thank you, gentlemen, for joining us here on this edition and sharing your perspective. Time for a quick break on this edition of Plain Speak. But on the other side, we'll get you details of what's happening in Kazan in Russia. Prime Minister Modi is leading the diplomatic power play on the sidelines of the BRICS summit. Details coming up.
Where 24 hours have gone by and the person who had placed the bomb over here has still not been identified by the Delhi police. I'll just try and show you around in the visuals over here the area in which the bomb blast happened. This is the area where the bomb blast happened, and if you look around from this entire area, on the other side are the lines, are the eateries that are lined up over here, as you have been mentioning. Now all these shops are closed at this very point. Now remember, the impact was, this entire blast was such that there are broken windows that can be seen on the other side of the road as well. Now what Delhi police sources are telling us, that in the investigation that they have done or through the CCTV footage that they have been able to go through at this point in time, 3 people can be seen as suspects or have been identified as people of interest. One of them was a person who was seen at this very spot on Saturday night at approximately 10:30, 11 p.m. in the night. He was seen at this very spot, he waited at this spot and then went away from here. That person has not been identified at this point in time. Apart from that, 2 other people who were also seen in and around this entire area having suspicion movement. Now in the CCTV footages that have been gone through by the Delhi police at this point in time, these 3 people are being said as the persons of interest. However, the identification of either of these 3 people have still not happened, and the person or the perpetrator of this entire crime has still not been identified by the Delhi police. Once the investigation was taken over by the Delhi police or started by Delhi police yesterday, there was one person who was initially interrogated by them, and then eventually he was allowed to let go of as well. So definitely at this point in time, there is no substantial evidence that the Delhi police, or for that matter any other agency, be it the NSG or the CRPF, have been able to pinpoint as to who could be the person who might be behind this attack. Yes, there are different theories that are being looked into at this point in time as to what could be the reason for using a bomb which had actually such a high radius of impact that shops which are approximately 20 to 30 meters away from this spot, they have been impacted. But interestingly, in these bombs, there were no sharp objects, no sharpnels, no broken glass material that was put over here, because generally in bombs or IEDs that are used, such materials are being put into the bomb so that the entire bomb becomes more potent, so that once the explosion happens, then these objects, sharp nails and other things, could actually go ahead and hurt people, and the impact of that blast could increase. But interestingly, in this explosion, there has been no sort of sharpnels or any other sharp objects that have been used. So was this entire blast done just to give some sort of a message, is something that is being investigated. Apart from this, another thing that is being looked into is the Khalistani angle. Remember, one of the channels on Telegram in fact had posted this, that this entire incident has been done by Khalistani supporters, because the manner in which the attacks are happening on Khalistanis across the world, they wanted to give this message that Khalistanis are much closer to the Indian agencies that they expect. Now, if I could just show you over here, just moments ago, a team of CRPF had come over here. Remember, CRPF have this expertise when it comes to looking into ID blast, because they are the people who are operating in places like Dantewada and other places in Chhattisgarh where there is a massive maoist impact and there is a lot of IITs that are being used. So over here there is also, it is being said that IITs were used and hence a team of CRPF had come up over here. They have monitored the entire location over here. They have measured the size of impact that the bomb blast has made. Somewhere or the other, they will try to figure out as to what is the quantity of explosives that were used over here and what kind of explosive was also used over here. Was it a highly technical IED or was it an IED that could have been made by anyone is something that the CRPF will come out with. But at this point in time, as the investigation is going ahead, the biggest issue is that the person who had placed the bomb over here has still not been identified, and hence the reason why this blast took place on a Sunday morning at 7:30 a.m. is still not very clear. Well, this entire spot was actually closed by the Delhi police for more than 12 to 13 hours yesterday itself. It is only at approximately 7:30 to 8 p.m. in the evening yesterday that this crime scene was opened and the barricades were removed from this entire area. So during that period of 12 to 13 hours, agencies like CRPF, NSG and the Delhi police, the FSL of the Delhi police have all visited the spot and have collected evidences from on ground over here. Now the team of CRPF that had come over here, they had just come up over here to measure the impact of this entire crime scene or the impact of bombs that were used over here. Now, as we were speaking up of the crime scene being opened, police officers have now reached over here. They are trying to get the media away from the crime spot. But yes, as we speak, most of the evidences have already been collected from this entire area. The team of CRPF that had come up over here, they had just come up to measure the impact of this entire incident and how much explosive was used so that such a massive hole can actually be made over here. This is something that has been measured by the CRPF at this point in time. Definitely, investigation is going on from different angles in this entire matter, but the first focus of all these investigating agencies is to
Thank you for staying with us. Prime Minister Modi and President Putin held bilateral talks on the sidelines of the 16th BRICS summit in Kazan. Prime Minister Modi reiterated the message of peace. He stated that humanity comes first and that India is ready to cooperate in restoring peace and the dialogue is the only way forward. This, of course, is ahead of the multilateral summit that takes place tomorrow, which is aimed at strengthening global development and security. In fact, Prime Minister Modi just took to Twitter. He spoke about the bilateral meeting between him and Russian President Vladimir Putin, where he goes on to say that our bond is deep-rooted and the talks focused on how to add more vigor to our partnership across diverse sectors. Listen in to what transpired during that key meeting.
Excellency, मैं आपकी मित्रता, गर्मजोशी भरे स्वागत और आतिथ्य सत्कार के लिए हार्दिक आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। मेरे लिए खुशी की बात है कि ब्रिक्स समिट के लिए कजान जैसे खूबसूरत शहर में आने का अवसर मिला है। इस शहर के साथ भारत के गहरे और ऐतिहासिक संबंध रहे हैं। कजान में भारत के नए कॉन्सुलेट के खुलने से ये संबंध और मजबूत होंगे। एक्सेलेंसी, पिछले 3 महीनों में मेरा 2 बार रूस आना हमारे करीबी समन्वय और गहरी मित्रता को दर्शाता है। जुलाई में मॉस्को में हुई हमारी एनुअल समिट से हर क्षेत्र में हमारे सहयोग को बल मिला है। एक्सेलेंसी, पिछले 1 वर्ष में ब्रिक्स की सफल अध्यक्षता के लिए मैं आपको बधाई देता हूँ। 15 वर्षों में ब्रिक्स ने अपनी एक विशेष पहचान बनाई है और अब विश्व के अनेक देश इससे जुड़ना चाहते हैं।
Siddhant, my colleague, joining us, getting us more perspective. Siddhant, as far as the bilateral with President Putin is concerned, Prime Minister Modi reiterating the message of peace that he has been so far doing when it comes to the Russia-Ukraine conflict. But there is another conflict that the world faces, which is the Israel war. It's not just against terror groups anymore. Iran's been dragged in as well, and India wants to play the role of a peacemaker there too. We are going to be seeing the Iranian president sit down with Prime Minister Modi in just a short while from now. What are going to be the focus areas?
Well, that's right, Poonam. Prime Minister Modi just concluded bilateral meeting with President Putin, and this meeting lasted for about 2 hours, and now we have been told that at around 8 p.m. Indian time, Prime Minister Modi will meet President Pezeshkian of Iran for the first time, and this meeting is taking place in Kazan, and Iran is a member of BRICS now, and this meeting is significant because Middle East is going to be on the agenda tomorrow during the summit level talks. And as we were highlighting before also, India is on the side of peace. That is Prime Minister Modi's message, whether it's Europe or whether it's Middle East. In fact, Prime Minister Modi met Mohammed Abbas, the Prime Minister of Palestine, perhaps, and Prime Minister Modi understood Palestinian perspective viewpoint as far as this crisis in Middle East is concerned. After returning from US, because they met on the sidelines of UNGA, and after returning from US, Prime Minister spoke to Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, and in fact, Prime Minister, extended his full cooperation as far as mediating peace is concerned. And now he would be meeting the president of Iran, Pezeshkian, for the first time. So obviously, the focus area would be the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. Other than this, there are many bilateral issues also between India and Iran,
Right.
Including the Chabahar port project, Shahid Beheshti terminal. That is perhaps terminal which is Indian government is developing, and in fact, Indian government had pledged more money
Right.
for that project this year. So that could also come up.
Also,
for
the rapport of the
discussion.
two leaders is going to be in focus as well. This is the first time that the new Iranian president is meeting with Prime Minister Modi, so we'll keep an eye out on that. But for the moment, Siddhant, thank you so much for getting us the latest. Slipping into a quick break on this edition of Plain Speak, but on the other side, we'll get you troubles of the aviation sector here in India, because there's no end to hoax bomb threats that are disrupting that sector. Is this a coincidence or is there a conspiracy? We'll decode.
Well, 24 hours have gone by and the person who had placed the bomb over here has still not been identified by the Delhi police. I'll just try and show you around in the visuals over here, the area in which the bomb blast happened. This is the area where the bomb blast happened, and if you look around from this entire area, on the other side are the lines, are the eateries that are lined up over here, as you have been mentioning. Now all these shops are closed at this very point. Now remember, the impact was, this entire blast was such that there are broken windows that can be seen on the other side of the road as well. Now what Delhi police sources are telling us, that in the investigation that they have done, or through the CCTV footage that they have been able to go through at this point in time, 3 people can be seen as suspects or have been identified as people of interest. One of them was a person who was seen at this very spot on Saturday night at approximately 10:30, 11 p.m. in the night. He was seen at this very spot, he waited at this spot and then went away from here. That person has not been identified at this point in time. Apart from that, 2 other people who were also seen in and around this entire area having suspicion movement. Now in the CCTV footages that have been gone through by the Delhi police at this point in time, these 3 people are being said as the persons of interest. However, the identification of either of these 3 people have still not happened, and the person or the perpetrator of this entire crime has still not been identified by the Delhi police. Once the investigation was taken over by the Delhi police, or started by Delhi police yesterday, there was one person who was initially interrogated by them, and then eventually he was allowed to let go of as well. So definitely at this point in time, there is no substantial evidence that the Delhi police, or for that matter any other agency, be it the NSG or the CRPF, have been able to pinpoint as to who could be the person who might be behind this attack. Yes, there are different theories that are being looked into at this point in time as to what could be the reason for using a bomb which had actually such a high radius of impact that shops which are approximately 20 to 30 meters away from this spot, they have been impacted. But interestingly, in these bombs, there sharp objects, no sharpnels, no broken brass material that was put over here, because generally in bombs or IEDs that are used, such materials are being put into the bomb so that the entire bomb becomes more potent, so that once the explosion happens, then these objects, sharpnels and other things could actually go ahead and hurt people, and the impact of that blast could increase. But interestingly, in this explosion, there has been no sort of sharpnels or any other sharp objects that have been used. So was this entire blast done just to give some sort of a message, is something that is being investigated. Apart from this, another thing that is being looked into is the Khalistani angle. Remember, one of the channels on Telegram in fact had posted this, that this entire incident has been done by Khalistani supporters, because the manner in which the attacks are happening on Khalistanis across the world, they wanted to give this message that Khalistanis are much closer to the Indian agencies that they expect. Now, if I could just show you over here, just moments ago, a team of CRPF had come over here. Remember, CRPF have this expertise when it comes to looking into IED blast, because they are the people who are operating in places like Dantewada and other places in Chhattisgarh where there is a massive moist impact and there is a lot of IEDs that are being used. So over here there is also, it is being said that IEDs were used, and hence a team of CRPF had come up over here. They have monitored the entire location over here. They have measured the size of impact that the bomb blast has made. Somewhere or the other, they will try to figure out as to what is the quantity of explosives that were used over here, and what kind of explosive was also used over here. Was it a highly technical IED, or was it an IED that could have been made by anyone, is something that the CRPF will come out with. But at this point in time, as the investigation is going ahead, the biggest issue is that the person who had placed the bomb over here has still not been identified, and hence the reason why this blast took place on a Sunday morning at 7:30 a.m. is still not very clear. Well, this entire spot was actually closed by the Delhi police for more than 12 to 13 hours yesterday itself. It is only at approximately 7:30 to 8 p.m. in the evening yesterday that this crime scene was opened and the barricades were removed from this entire area. So during that period of 12 to 13 hours, agencies like CRPF, NSG and the Delhi police, the FSL of the Delhi police, have all visited the spot and have collected evidences from on ground over here. Now the team of CRPF that had come over here, they had just come up over here to measure the impact of this entire crime scene, or the impact of bombs that were used over here. Now, as we were speaking up of the crime scene being opened, police officers have now reached over here. They are trying to get the media away from the crime spot. But yes, as we speak, most of the evidences have already been collected from this entire area. The team of CRPF that had come up over here, they had just come up to measure the impact of this.
Welcome back. Hoax bomb threats continue to disrupt the aviation sector. It's been going on for the last 1 week. Planes have been grounded. Passengers have been unnerved. Over 100 flights across major carriers, IndiGo, Vistara, Air India and Akasa Air, Vistara included, were forced into emergency security measures after these threats. Now, though they've turned out to be fake, the fallout is real. There are flights that are delayed, disrupted schedules that passengers have faced. There's anxiety among passengers and airlines as well. We are approaching travel season. There's Diwali just around the corner. And then, of course, November and December are usually when people take vacations. So why exactly are we seeing these hoax calls? We'll try to decode that. But here's what has happened in the last 24 hours itself. At least 30 flights have received these hoax calls. They're either made on social media or emails have been sent. 10 IndiGo flights, 10 Vistara and 10 Air India flights have been affected just in the last 24 hours. A statement has been issued by all of them respectively to say that passenger safety is paramount and all measures are being taken. But the fallout of these calls is a hefty one, because there's a lot of things that need to be looked into. Fuel dumping needs to be done by these aircraft once that call is made or once that alarm has been raised to ensure that they land safely. There's an additional burden of fuel that needs to be added in case of diversions. There are unscheduled landing charges that have to be paid, specifically if these locations are international airports like the one that we saw recently in Canada. You have to provide for accommodation both for passengers and for crew. The grounding of these aircraft also means that crew needs to be replaced because the same crew can't be flying you for that long. There's an alternative route that needs to be looked into as well. There are costs that add to that, and as per industry experts, this cost comes up to about 15 to 20 crore rupees. So it is taking a toll on the aviation sector. It's also causing anxiety among the passengers and, of course, the government. So is this really a coincidence, or is there a bigger conspiracy? We ask our guests. Jitendra Bhargav, author and former executive director of Air India, joins us. Sanjay Lazar, aviation expert and CEO of Airlines, joins us as well. Jitendra Bhargav, let me begin by asking you. It's been 8 days now, 8 straight days, and we're seeing these threats, hoax threats that are being made via different platforms. Now, so far, the government has maintained that this looks like pranks. But do you believe that? Because it's been going on for, like I said, 8 days straight. Can this be held up as a prank?
You know, it's a fact that in the last 9 days, over 150 calls have been received, and each of them have turned out to be a hoax call. Of course, not before the flights that were operating had to be diverted, passengers subjected to security checks, baggage security, costing the airlines quite a bit of money. Now, the question that needs to be asked is, can this be allowed to continue? 9 days, we have noticed that yesterday in the last 24 hours, as you said, 30 prank calls have been received. But a call when received is not a hoax call. It turns out to be a hoax call only after the mandatory drill of subjecting the aircraft, passengers and baggages to a security check is done, and you don't find anything. Now, the question that people have to be asking the government, can the Civil Aviation Ministry, which has done a lot in the last 5-6 days, nobody can deny that fact, getting more air marshals, risk calibration, making checks at the airport more stringent, coming out with a law that the pranksters will be taken to task, put on a no-fly list, etc. But is that all? And can this stop the tamasha of these calls being made? I'm deliberately using the word tamasha because it's been going on for so many days. And now comes the basic question. The Ministry of Civil Aviation certainly does not have the wherewithal of tracking down the calls and thereby the culprits. So who's going to do that job? Naturally, our investigative agencies. What have they done in the last 8-9 days? All that we know is that some of the calls were traced to Germany and London. But what next? They can be using high technology, undoubtedly. Nobody will be foolish enough to just make a call from the mobile phone, and they can be tracked down and traced and apprehended in a matter of a few hours. The question that we have been asking as an airline person is, how do we put an end to it? Do we not have adequate technology to get them in the shortest possible time and take them to task? Because if we don't do it, they'll continue to make calls, whether it's for fun, whether it's to harass India, whether it's to shame the Indian aviation, affect the aviation industry image, country's image, etc. One does not know.
But how would we differentiate that? I also ask that because, Mr. Bhargav, a lot of these threats have been made on social media, which very often is being done using VPNs. It can be routed to n number of countries worldwide, and you would never know where it originated from.
No, I wouldn't buy that argument. You see, let's put it this way, the culprits are smart. We need to be smarter. If they are using the VPN network, you can move from one place to another. It's not easy to get the IP address. The question is, can we allow this tamasha to go on? Or do we need to put an end? Now, question is, have we explored all avenues of using the help of the countries from which these calls are supposedly being made, social media platforms, giving them legal notice to this effect? Something more needs to be done. We just can't be helpless in this matter that, look, if yesterday there were 15 calls, today there will be 20 calls, 25 calls, and we'll go to the drill of grounding a flight, and delaying the flight, subjecting the flight to a security check, etc. Something needs to be done. As a common man, as a traveler, one is bound to be asking this question, what is the government of India doing?
Absolutely.
Have we explored all avenues? Have we explored all our technical wisdom that we have, or the engineers that we have, the experts that we have been able to do it? Because let's not wait. You see, if you recall, Prime Minister once made a statement. Yes, sahयोग nahi prayog hai. Is this an experiment? Is it a coincidence and later becomes an experiment? No, what is it
And
that
if there
we're
is
doing?
a larger ploy at place, then we have to nip it in the bud. And Sanjay Lazar, the government is mulling a lot of actions, including amendments to the existing law, because right now, as per the law that we have, action
you
can
are
be
again
taken
saying-
only.
You're saying the same thing. Ministry of Civil Aviation has done everything that was possible,
Sure.
that was required to be
Sure,
done.
but they are
But
still
can
mulling
that-
to do more. They are still
but
looking
can
to
that
make
put an end?
amendments, because right now we have rules as per the law where action only can be taken against someone if a call is made while the flight is in the air and not on ground.
Give me a minute, let me explain. Yes, you will take stringent action against the culprit. But the question is, first you have to catch the culprit. The action comes is secondary to the primary job of catching him. And that is where I've been questioning that where have we done and what have we done in the past 9 days to instill requisite confidence in the aviation industry that once a call is made, irrespective of the technology he's using, can we reach him?
Sure.
That's my question.
Sure, and confidence building measures are required, Sanjay Lazar, especially since we are going to be seeing perhaps more travelers. Diwali is just around the corner, it's festival season. We are going to be seeing more people wanting to travel. Is this something that could deter some of them? Because it is bound to instill some sort of anxiety if such calls are made with such frequency.
Poonam, first of all, I'd like to just say the government has failed totally. There is laws on the books. There are provisions. You're incorrect. It controls even people hoaxes made on the ground. It's a 1982 act. The minister has just referred to it today. I've been referring it to for 7 days. It is the Suppression of Unlawful Acts 1982, which was amended in 2010. Clause 3.1 talks of bomb threats on ground or at airports or anywhere. It punishes people for life. The problem here is, where do you find them? Like Mr. Bhargav correctly said, we should have had the Ministry of Home Affairs looking at this and have a complete, a consolidated move. You should have had your IB, your RAW, your digital agencies. Look at the US. We only have to look at the US. Look at 9/11. It happened a year later. They passed the Homeland Security Act. In 2003, the Homeland Security Division was formed. You had 33 departments, sections, and emergency services coming under one roof. Today, the NSA reports to them if they need cyber surveillance, the FBI, everybody helps the Homeland Security. We don't have some system like that in India. Okay, so if some alternate were to be made, that is one of the things I would have imagined the Home Ministry should have gotten. Be that as it may, today we've had, and I've tracked till 5 o'clock, 46 calls. 13 Air India, 11 IndiGo, 11 Vistara, 12 Akasa. That's a huge amount of calls in 24 hours. And we've crossed 150, like Mr. Bhargav said, absolutely right. Which nation undergoes this? This is a concerted effort from outside of our country. I said this 7 days ago. Maybe, we've not tracked them down, but let's talk to, the UK. Let's talk to the German government. Let's talk to the social media agencies. You have high court judgments. You have the IT Act that provides that. But we are running around, in circles, I feel. I'm sorry. And it's hurting the country. It's hurting the traveler, and it's hurting the airlines most of all.
Absolutely, because the cost is really high.
Yeah, it's 150 calls I've not had, in all my 38 years in aviation, I've not seen 150 calls. This is a ridiculous joke.
Is this then because we don't know what we're dealing with? Is this a problem we didn't see coming, Mr. Lazar? Is that why you think we're running around in circles?
I think it's a problem we underestimated. We called it pranksters. We called it other names. We should have seen it coming. I don't want to put a name to it. There are investigative agencies. Let them look into it. The truth will emerge eventually. Whether it's A group, B group, C group, or a collection of it could have been a collection of hackers doing this for all you know. Okay, but let's find out. We did not see this coming. We are unprepared. And it's ironic. The nation with the most intelligent IT professionals on earth is suffering something like this, which it should never have. You look at all the biggest IT companies in the US. Who heads them? Indians. You look at all our IT companies, they're servicing all these American companies. Our IT geniuses would have sorted this out. We should have used the wherewithal of our government. This is cyber terrorism, as I call it, and we must treat it as such. The suppression of unlawful acts gives you permission to jail somebody for life. Let's not talk about no-fly list and all. I'm sorry. I'm not somebody who let's take off the gloves and treat this for what it is. It is criminal. Simple.
Mr. Bhargav, last 30 seconds to you. All of these actions would be reactive. Are there any proactive measures that can be taken so that we're better prepared for a situation like this in the future?
Absolutely. And the proactive measures will come out of the experience and the ability of our people to snap them. And then you say, I'm going to be taking, they are using this kind of high technology. I will have better technology to nab them and take preventive measures. And that is what we have been seeking from everyone, because the media has been counting the number of flights. Let's count the number of days that have gone by and the culprits have gone unapprehended. Now, that is what I'm looking for, that let's put the pressure on them. They must be taken to task, because reporting every day the number of flights and have impacted losses, inconvenience, cost to passengers is one aspect. And this kind of a thing will continue unless we can reach them and they have that fear in them. Yes, the government of India, investigative agencies
that fear
can
of law
be
has
just.
to be instilled, that has to be ensured, because it's been 9 days now. Over 150 flights have been affected. We can only look at the surmounting losses that airlines have faced and the anxiety, of course, that passengers are continuing to face. On that note, I thank you both gentlemen for joining us here on this edition. It's a wrap from my side on Plain Speak. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Co-powered by.
When 24 hours have gone by and the person who had placed the bomb over here has still not been identified by the Delhi police. I'll just try and show you around in the visuals over here. The area in which the bomb blast happened. This is the area where the bomb blast happened. And if you look around from this entire area, on the other side are the lines, are the eateries that are lined up over here, as you have been mentioning. Now all these shops are closed at this very point. Now remember, the impact was, this entire blast was such that there are broken windows that can be seen on the other side of the road as well. Now what Delhi police sources are telling us, that in the investigation that they have done or through the CCTV footage that they have been able to go through at this point in time, 3 people can be seen as suspects or have been identified as people of interest. One of them was a person who was seen at this very spot on Saturday night at approximately 10:30-11 p.m. in the night. He was seen at this very spot, he waited at this spot and then went away from here. That person has not been identified at this point in time. Apart from that, 2 other people who were also seen in and around this entire area having suspicion movement. Now in the CCTV footages that have been gone through by the Delhi police at this point in time, these 3 people are being said as the persons of interest. However, the identification of either of these 3 people have still not happened, and the person or the perpetrator of this entire crime has still not been identified by the Delhi police. Once the investigation was taken over by the Delhi police or started by Delhi police yesterday, there was one person who was initially interrogated by them, and then eventually he was allowed to let go of as well. So definitely at this point in time, there is no substantial evidence that the Delhi police, or for that matter any other agency, be it the NSG or the CRPF, have been able to pinpoint as to who could be the person who might be behind this attack. Yes, there are different theories that are being looked into at this point in time as to what could be the reason for using a bomb which had actually such a high radius of impact that shops which are approximately 20 to 30 meters away from this spot, they have been impacted. But interestingly, in these bombs, there sharp objects, no sharpnels, no broken glass material that was put over here, because generally in bombs or IEDs that are used, such materials are being put into the bomb so that the entire bomb becomes more potent, so that once the explosion happens, then these objects, sharp nails and other things, could actually go ahead and hurt people, and the impact of that blast could increase. But interestingly, in this explosion, there has been no sort of sharpnels or any other sharp objects that have been used. So was this entire blast done just to give some sort of a message is something that is being investigated. Apart from this, another thing that is being looked into is the Khalistani angle. Remember, one of the channels on Telegram in fact had posted this that this entire incident has been done by Khalistani supporters because the manner in which the attacks are happening on Khalistanis across the world. They wanted to give this message that Khalistanis are much closer to the Indian agencies that they expect. Now, if I could just show you over here, just moments ago, a team of CRPF had come over here. Remember, CRPF have this expertise when it comes to looking into ID blasts because they are the people who are operating in places like Dantewada and other places in Chhattisgarh where there is a massive Maoist impact and there is a lot of IEDs that are being used. So over here there is also, it is being said that IEDs were used and hence a team of CRPF had come up over here. They have monitored the entire location over here. They have measured the size of impact that the bomb blast has made. Somewhere or the other they will try to figure out as to what is the quantity of explosives that were used over here and what kind of explosive was also used over here. Was it a highly technical IED or was it an IED that could have been made by anyone is something that the CRPF will come out with. But at this point in time, as the investigation is going ahead, the biggest issue is that the person who had placed the bomb over here has still not been identified, and hence the reason why this blast took place on a Sunday morning at 7:30 a.m. is still not very clear. Well, this entire spot was actually closed by the Delhi police for more than 12 to 13 hours yesterday itself. It is only at approximately 7:30 to 8 p.m. in the evening yesterday that this crime scene was opened and the barricades were removed from this entire area. So during that period of 12 to 13 hours, agencies like CRPF and
Namaste, Jai Hind and welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. I'm Anand Narsimhan. A year after advocating the eradication of Sanatan Dharma, Tamil Nadu Deputy Chief Minister Udhayanidhi Stalin continues to remain defiant. He's espoused yet again that he would want to annihilate what is at the heart of the very way of our life in our country, that is the Hindu way of life, Sanatan Dharma, the ethos of millennia-old civilization of Bharat. In 2023, the Deputy Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu called for Sanatan Dharma's eradication, equating it to malaria and dengue. Even despite the Supreme Court's rap to Udhayanidhi, where he was warned of the consequences of his utterances, he believes in not saying sorry for insulting Bharat's oldest dharma.